I think we are good whenever.
We are good whenever.
Ready to go, babe?
I don't want any more of that. Yeah.
Are you practicing discipline right now? What is it?
It's chocolate covered raspberries. It's actually very healthy for you.
Remind me at some point in the middle of this podcast, I'm going to text Jeff for our spots tonight.
Jeff who?
Yeah, I don't want to do it too early. I think we should do it around like 3:34.
Ew.
So we'll do that.
Dark chocolate's actually very healthy for you.
That's absolutely true.
Wait a second.
Yep.
I feel like this is one of those things we tell ourselves to like feel good
Well,
about
it's
the fact we're
healthier
eating
than like
chocolate.
the other chocolate.
No, but
Well,
there's there's so many benefits like to your actual like brain when it comes to dark chocolate. Just so you know, we're not going to talk about that though.
You've eaten so much dark chocolate that your brain has convinced you it's good.
No,
Yeah.
I'm just letting you know.
I want it to be true. Okay.
I mean,
I want chocolate to be good for me. There's a lot of things I want.
it really is.
Are we advertising?
Brookside.
No,
Thank you for your
we're not
sponsorship.
advertising. No. They're not a paid sponsor. That's not
Cease
happening.
Candy, could you please?
I was gonna say we're sitting here. I think we've officially started. I'm really not sure,
Yeah,
but I think we have a bag of. By the way, we look like obese people right now. We didn't even do a test, like a clap. Do I need to clap?
Oh yeah, yeah. If you could clap that.
All right, ready? Here we go.
You clap for yourself.
Okay. Very good. We look like obese people right now.
No,
we have
because of what's in
chocolate,
front of us. Yeah.
See's candy.
Yeah.
That See's candy was actually given to me at an event I was at this past week. First off, welcome everybody
Hello.
to this episode of Today with Jared James. I'm joined once again by Linda James.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon, everybody.
Like good morning.
Tom, is your mic on?
It is. Yes.
All right, awesome. We're going to get into this a little bit, guys. We have a lot of news to share, and there's a lot of stuff going on in the industry as well that we're going to talk about. And at some point in the middle of this, my kids are going to come home, and I haven't seen them for like a week and a half. And so we might just have an outburst of...
Dismiss yourself.
I mean,
I could take over. Tom and I.
I'll just have
we don't need you.
Yeah, I'll just have them come over.
Tom, we got this, right?
Have them come over and I can give them a hug. I miss them.
Sure.
But I got See's candy. It was so funny. I got See's candy at an event I was at this past week, and I looked at it and I'm like, there's two ways I can go about this, because we know that you love See's candy.
I do.
I could act like I got it and act like it wasn't a
Yeah.
gift at all. That I'm on the road. I miss you. I thought of you. I decided to go the honest route, and I just told you it was given to me.
Oh yeah.
And
No, it's perfect.
I don't think it's any different that it's a regift, though. I feel like I still get credit.
No, I do a lot of regifts.
Yeah. Yeah. So I was honest about it.
Yeah, and you didn't even touch it.
Yeah. No, I didn't touch it at all.
Unwrapped. Not even unwrapped.
Oh, anyway.
Let me just say though, so I'm starting this really strict, like I decided to hire an international trainer and get really, really fit. Let me tell you.
This is what happened to Tom Brady. This is what happened to Tom Brady. You start working with an international trainer. Here we go.
I don't understand the joke, but okay.
Tom Brady,
Anyways,
Gisele Bundchen left him for her trainer.
Don't know.
You really don't know that story?
No. Anyways, I will make sure to add my calorie count into my meal plan for my See's candy. It's not something that you're like, oh, you can't have chocolate anymore or See's candy. Like, no, I could. I'm just going to substitute it.
You know I never
and
stop
have
you from...
less
You look great. Eat
and
whatever
get
you
rid of
want.
the other boiled egg that I don't need.
Yeah.
And the protein.
I trust you. You're more critical on yourself than I could ever be.
But I'm
I think
very
both of us are
excited.
like that.
Yes.
I came
very
back
excited.
from, look, guys, I've been on the road like crazy. And I've been at trips. I've been at...
Vacation.
I did a quick stopover, and that was a whole whirlwind to surprise my niece on her birthday in Dominican Republic. And I came back feeling like a beached whale. And, you know, Linda and I get together. She's like, oh, baby, you look so good. Oh, and I'm going,
Because I haven't seen you in
I do not.
almost 4 weeks. So it's
Yeah.
like, oh my gosh, you look great.
I look good if I'm
That's the
identifying
secret.
as a whale.
People, that's a secret to a good relationship is long distance.
Oh, I thought you were going to say lying.
No, no, I don't
You
lie.
look good. Although I did weigh
don't
in.
lie.
I did weigh in right before this, and I was pleasantly surprised.
Yeah.
Pleasantly.
I think you also work yourself up so much that you expect the worst.
Oh, I was
So you're like,
expecting-
oh my gosh, anything better than that
Oh,
number?
I'm like,
Yeah.
I'll be back to
Well, yeah,
equilibrium weight in
I
a
do
couple
that too.
days. Like, we're good, you know,
Anyways.
couple of cardio days and we're good to go. But anyway, so yeah, it's been a whirlwind, guys. I'm so glad we're getting to do this. I'm smack dab in the middle of, you know, what we call convention season, where it's just place after place after place, pretty soon country after country after country. And it's super cool, and it's an honor and it's a privilege, and it's it's honestly a lot of the stuff that I'll talk about at the Advance and otherwise the Advance September 18th and 19th, Orlando, Florida. By the way, it's never been easier for me to come up with notes than it has been for this one because so much stuff's been happening.
And you're only 3 months in.
Yeah, but all these events, they're like small clubs where I'm preparing for the Netflix special. It's just, you can try so much stuff when you're talking every day at different places and try stuff out and whatever. And so I'm kind of in the middle of that right now. So a little tired. My voice is a little shot. If it cracks, I'm not going through puberty. That was a long time ago. It's just, it's a lot. I think you met me at an event I was at. You landed in Boston and came over to Providence, and you said that like halfway through my event or something, I looked tired or something. Like I looked whatever, and I'm like, well, I'm not sure how to take that.
Drained. Yeah.
I was drained.
And you think about it, it's like, this is your last event before you get to go home. So it's even, you can even see it like, oh yeah, you're done. Like they wanted us to stay, and
we still gave them everything. Like they got a great event. I just didn't want to hang after.
No, we're gonna drive home. Like, thanks very much.
Yeah, they put on a great event, and they had an after event, and so I spoke, and then I did a meet and greet and these things, and there is no doubt your head starts to go like, oh my God, I'm gonna see my bed tonight. Oh my God, and I definitely started thinking like that. And then I'm thinking about seeing my kids today and doing whatever. And so, only natural. We still gave them everything. It was a great event. It was, whatever. But yeah, there's no doubt that there was a twinkle in my eye, that was very happy about being able to get home and do this and see my dog, go to the gym this morning, go to our same Starbucks and get our Starbucks and go car shopping for Noah tomorrow and just get back into routine. I say it all the time, guys, but like, I'm literally one of the most routine people you'll ever meet. Like literally, down to even like the tidiness of my home. Like I am routine. And when you're on the road, routines are tough. Your routine is kind of dictated by other people and what that looks like and where you are. And for someone like me, that gets very like unnerving. It's like I'm about to go to 4 different countries, right? I'm going to Czech Republic, Portugal, Turkey, and Italy, right? And you don't realize it, but like there's the exhaustion of the travel and the events and all the people and everybody's surrounding you and everybody's, and for an introvert like me, that pulls out of me. It drains me, right? But then the little things that you could normally use, like when I'm at an event here in the US where I just slip away from everybody, go to a Starbucks and just get a coffee, it doesn't taste the same in other countries. Like nothing feels like home, The outlets are different. The beds are different. The milk is unpasteurized. The menus are different. The food tastes different. The people don't speak your language. It's just this constant like, So when you finally, like yesterday's event, when you finally get to a place where you're like, 100% first world problems.
Yeah, we're not complaining about it.
No. But I'm giving you guys a little taste of like, that's the reality. Like when when I'm in that event and you go, oh, I can tell he's ready to go home. 100. Just sitting in your car is just like, I've told people for years, they're like, oh, you don't get a car service? No, I don't want someone driving me. When I get home, I want to sit in my car.
You guys, he won't even let me drive.
Yeah, that's very true.
Yeah.
That's very true.
It's very frustrating.
There was that one time.
Very true.
There was that one time.
Just get in the car. Let's go.
Yeah, so anyway, awesome to be home. A lot of stuff coming up, a lot of events coming up, a lot of, just things like that. Which looking forward to. And this last week we did ERA, we did United Country, we did a thing for North Bank, we did a thing for, oh God, I'm missing someone, and I can't think of it right now.
Now that you're naming them, I can't believe you're missing
them. You know what?
Wow.
Yep,
Shouldn't do
that is a mistake.
It is a mistake.
Yep.
You were in Kansas City. What were you in Kansas City
That was
for?
United Country.
Okay, you're in Las Vegas. You're in Montana. You did Montana.
Leading RE.
Okay.
Leading real estate companies of the world.
It's easier just to do the locations.
Yeah. All the independent country, all the independent brokerages.
Just the largest one.
Oh no, there was 35 countries there, and that was super cool. And I even jumped over. It's funny, R4 was happening at the same time, which we have a ton of people that we know and love at R4, and so that was fun to kind of hop over there.
Which is Remax for those that know.
Yeah, Remax R4.
Yeah.
Hopped over quickly, got a chance to see them, which was super cool. Nick Bailey, my buddy, former CEO of Remax, was actually speaking at Leading RE, same conference as me, but we were 2 ships in a night.
You guys didn't see each other.
He texted me a week before, and he's like, dude, we're both going to be at, whatever. And I'm like, what? When do you get in? Whatever. And 2 ships in the night. We completely missed each other. We were talking about coming in early and just getting a ballroom and putting on we're both here, let's just do an event. We'll just, And he was trying to sell me on it. Oh, he was trying to sell
I'm
me
sure.
hard. He's
After a
like,
few
we can
drinks.
make this much. We could,
I can see
I'm
with
like,
a cocktail in hand. Let's do it, Jared.
yeah. Oh, it's not even. Oh, yeah. It was a
Yeah.
thing. He was like, he was serious. We'll get a ballroom. We'll do it. I'm like, I don't know if that's,
Maybe next year.
So
Call
yeah.
it the advance.
So that was fun. So anyway, we are smack dab in the middle of that. We are also, my God, we just do it all at once. In California, we're moving into a new place. So we have that move that's going on.
Yeah.
But basically everything I work for right now is for new furniture. Because we are
ridiculous.
moving into, we have a new home coming in Fresno. And we also are moving offices
Yes.
in Connecticut. And so all new furniture, last night we were looking at furniture, and every 10 seconds my wife would just go, oh my God, this is adding up. This is adding up.
I was getting nervous. I would see that shopping cart, Tom, and I'm like, ooh, this is expensive. Ooh, do we really need that?
Do they need to sit?
Are they really
Do they really need to sit, these
know what?
lazy,
You know one thing we did
ungrateful?
not get, which
Can't they
I need
just
to-
stand or share a seat?
I need to make a note. We did not get screens, monitors. We need to get those.
Oh, we have to get those?
Yeah.
I was leaving that up to you guys to get those.
But yeah, I mean, looking at that shopping cart, someone messaged me on social yesterday and said, they absolutely love us. And she's also in a long distance relationship. And she's like, how do you do it? It's very difficult.
It's the first time I'm hearing about this.
Yeah, I don't tell you everything.
Apparently not.
No. But I did say communication, but I guess that kind of
Wow,
contradicts.
that took a turn.
Yeah. No, but I said
I tell him everything.
I know, we communicate a lot. Nice, we FaceTime a lot. We're
Yeah.
business partners. But I should add to that list, just move also, because it just occupies everything. Move into a new place.
Isn't that funny? We were talking this past week, and like you were doing a countdown to when we were going to be together.
I do a countdown every time I see you.
I know,
I'm
it
like,
is true.
When am I going to see you next?
It's actually very touching, and
It's very sad.
and and there was a moment where, I don't know if I should say this publicly or not, but I am. When you say that, like something takes up your time, it's the God's honest truth. There are times, especially when I'm this busy on the road, I'm always thinking about you. I'm always like talking to you. I'm always, but like that missing of like, I need to be whatever. It's like, I'm so used to, I've been so programmed over the years of traveling and being away from everybody that like, it doesn't hit me the same way until I stop the travel. Or until I, this is a great example. I made a last second change to surprise my niece on her 20th birthday. I cut a work event short, red-eyed in, drove home from New York for 18 minutes, showered, head back to the airport, and then direct flight into Dominican. And then they were eating dinner, and I surprised her for her 20th. And it was so worth it, whatever. But when I was at that, then I started missing you because I was done with the work stuff, and I had a couple days before I had to go, so just go, whew, okay, let's just chill. And then when I was there with them and the family and whatever, I was just kind of like, yeah, I wish my wife was here. Yeah, I kind of wish my kids were here right now. Like, whatever. Great time, great whatever. But then it's like everything slows down, the distractions are gone, and you're just kind of like, oh, I would really like to see my wife right now. Like, really, And so that was interesting because when we saw each other, it was at a work dinner. It was a client dinner.
We actually even couldn't, which was great, but we couldn't even get a chance to like.
You're like, I'm not gonna be able to keep my hands off of you, and I was like, babe, I'm your husband.
It's like when you first. It's different. Like when you first see him, he picks up in the airport. It's like we get to talk, we get to hold hands. But it was like, oh no, we're on. We have a client. Like there's a client.
Yeah.
And so it was very different. There was like literally no emotion that could have been shown.
This is what it's like being my wife, guys. Just so
But-
you know, this is what you get.
But at
Okay.
the same time, I'll probably never see him again. So it'd be okay.
Well, you did a great job. You came in, and then we got
was
some
fine,
good quality
yeah. It was
time,
great.
and yeah, it was fantastic. And then we went through the streets of Providence. Oh, we almost got robbed.
Yeah.
Oh, true story. That's a God's honest true
You know
story.
this, Tom? Have you
No.
heard this yet?
No.
Oh
I
my
heard
God.
this.
So we decided we're going to walk to Providence College because my son was accepted there and he was going to go. I just wanted to see it. And I've never been a huge fan of there's some places that I'm just like, I don't know about that. So we asked the bellman, hey, we're going to walk to Providence College. It's about a mile and a half. Like, how do we get there? He gives us the directions and, nothing, whatever. So we start walking and I'm just kind of going,
He gives Jared the directions, by the way, which Jared isn't the best with directions. And he wouldn't even pull it up on his phone for a while. He's like, no, it's this way. I'm like, okay. So you keep walking. And then I was like, baby, I was like, I don't know, but we saw a couple of people.
Well, it just got interesting. And then we saw them
that passed us
staring
first.
at us. Oh, yeah, the people passing us. Yeah, you're talking about Post Malone if he was still doing drugs all day, every day. Just tattoos everywhere. He's all drugged out, this guy. And everywhere he passed was like that. And I'm like, I don't think this is a great area to be walking with my wife. Then we pull up at this area, and these two guys across the way are just staring at us. You know how usually like you look back
Like
and they kind of like look
right?
away? You know, like, oh, I'm not staring at you. Oh, no, they're staring. And now they start talking. Then they start spreading out. They're planning their robbery. So I'm like, babe, we got to change up the pattern here. Let's go. Let's make it look like we're leaving because we're waiting for an Uber.
Yeah.
And we got to make it look like we're leaving. Like we need to break this whole situation up right now that's going on here. So we break it up. We go somewhere else. And now the Uber's going to be waiting for us on this corner. So then we go back. Of course, the Uber's stuck at a light right down the road. So now we're just standing there again. Uber starts pulling up, and I'm flagging them down even though we're on the wrong side of the street and there's other cars. And now one of the guys, hey, you lost. Hey, buddy, you lost. And then now they're going to start moving in. We literally open the doors to like the minivan bin. Go.
Jared's like trying to close the minivan
Go.
doors.
Yeah. We've got a bad situation here.
It's one of those automatic doors. The guy's like, stop it. Jared's like trying to close it.
I tell you what, I've never wished in my life more that I had bought my wife a fake ring because I thought it was about to get taken. You know?
And I had
like,
my purse on me. I was
yeah.
like, oh, gosh,
I was like,
this is
oh
not
my
good.
God. I'm thinking about what watch do I have on? How much cash do I have on me? Like, here we go, you know?
Yeah.
So it was interesting, to say the least.
Yeah.
But we made it, and that's what makes life fun.
Makes it for a great story.
Yeah, as the Bee Gees say, staying alive.
Staying alive. That's true.
Okay, staying alive. So anyway, that's been going on. We also just completed our, which by the way, everybody listening right now, most people don't realize, you know, I've talked a lot the last year, and I'm going to continue to about things like investments and real estate investments and these things. And too many people who are in the real estate field don't understand that you can do, you know, they think that their retirement is in like an IRA or in a, you know, whatever, like we have at the company, Tom. Like we have 401k, we have an IRA. Yep. But most people don't realize that you have every option. Anyone can do it, where you can actually take your funds and put them into a self-directed IRA. And with a self-directed IRA, now it's not in the stock market where somebody just puts it into some mutual funds or puts it into something like that. You now have it in an account where you direct where it goes, and you can put it 100% towards real estate. You can buy cash flowing properties. You can use it to fund businesses and do private financing and charge whatever rate you want. You can use it. You can take up to $50,000 as a loan back. And as long as you pay it back over a certain number of years, so if you take that 50 and you turn it into 100, you can keep the other 50, pay back the loan. Like there's so many things you can do with it, and you can actually put it in places. You can flip homes with it. You could buy apartment buildings. There's so many things you can do with that money, and most people don't realize that. And so we decided this past month or so to take the retirement accounts we had, which, look, we're fortunate enough that those are not going to be our retirement. And we said, what are we doing? Like, let's put them together and let's get a self-directed IRA.
Yeah.
Let's go buy an apartment building, or let's buy an Airbnb in Mexico, or let's buy a, you know, whatever it is. And so we did that this week too, which I know is a lifelong goal. Like I know you want to like.
I know. I just want to do it. I just want to try to be a property manager and see how I like it.
Yeah.
I think it's fun. I love design. I love people. I love vacationing, and so it would also be a spot for us to maybe go to if we got something out of the country.
Share with friends and family.
Yeah, and then leave for our kids one day or whatever it is. And so first is just sitting in an account. So anyways, I think
we both are kind of like we come from the giving mindset. Like we love the idea of being able to tell people, hey, come join us here, or come do this, or you know.
Have you ever had a rental?
Yeah. Babe, I was like...
I understand what you were, but like I didn't know if you had... I know you flipped a lot, but did you actually have like rental properties?
Oh, yeah, babe. Yeah.
You did?
Yeah, I sold everything. And I put it into our businesses. Oh. I decided that I was going to invest back in and take no financing, no nothing when...
and put it back and start this?
Everything, yeah. All started with this, and then beyond that, yeah. Almost like we just did with the self-directed. I looked at it and said, this money is much more well put towards me. Like that's basically what I said. I'm not taking funding. I'm not taking, and I had, by the way, when I started Jared James Enterprises and other companies that ensued, every company that I've started, I've had friends. You gotta remember, like when I say my friends, guys, it's not like you know your friend down at the second grade elementary school teacher. I have friends that, invest heavily in businesses and in real estate and in, those types of things. And just about every company I've started, I've had many friends that are more than willing to like invest. That like, I want to put money in that. I want to do, whatever. I just always made a conscious decision to make sure that I was always the 100% owner. And have even just recently now started doing something where, I'm helping companies grow and whatever, and taking equity where I'm not 100% owner, but I'm taking equity in companies in order to help them grow and get them out to people when they're great products.
That's obviously different because
way different,
because those weren't your ideas.
That's my
someone
point.
else's ideas. Yeah, so that's definitely
different.
And they're using you as leverage.
Way different. But in my situations, I always, and by the way, I'm not saying that in every situation it makes sense to hold on to 100%. Like when you look at how companies scale and the dilution that occurs when you scale, it's the whole idea that a piece of the watermelon is better than the whole grape. I understand that concept. That just for what I was doing, I wasn't interested in it.
So did you ever do like a family friend round on any of your businesses or no?
No. I've always 100% funded.
So you would sell your physical like assets, like the properties, in order to fund your
I got rid of everything and I focused on I focused on
You just bet it on yourself. That's what you did.
I invested in myself.
Yeah.
And by the way, it worked out. Yes, I mean, like I was betting on myself and I was saying I'm going to be 100%, and I don't regret it one bit. There's not one part of me that regrets doing any of that. And so everybody's got their different trail. Everybody's got the different season they're in. But for me, that was the right decision. But when you go back to things like the CRM and stuff, like I invested millions into that. Like that was all self-funded. You talk about expensive, when you asked me the other day about mistakes or failures or whatever, you talk about expensive, what people would call mistakes, but I mean, it was a learning process, right? But that was all me. I had friends that were willing to, I just didn't, I wanted to fund things myself and do things myself. And
there's also a set of other pressure on top of that when you have people fund.
100.
I wouldn't like that. Like
that I don't like to ask people for things.
I have to live up to like, oh my gosh, like now it's not only gambling on myself and betting on myself, but I have to there's follow through now.
What if you lose their money?
And they're watching and this and that now I have to report and there's a lot. So I could understand why you're like, nope, don't care about your opinion. I want to be able to do it myself and not have to report back or feel like I owe something to you.
When I made the decision to shut down and just bring the CRM in-house, that's a much more difficult decision when you have 5 family and friends, friends and family members that have, $100,000 in a piece or something. And now they're not going to people are investing because they want an exit eventually, they potentially want dividends. They eventually, whatever. And so I just didn't want that pressure. I wanted full autonomy. I talk about it all the time about making decisions from the position of what you should do, not what you have to do. Those are two different things, right? Like once you start bringing on other people, there's a lot more of have to that starts to come in.
Yeah.
Where you feel pressure to, live up to or to get them paid back or to make sure that they get, it's a different thing. And so I made a decision consciously to say, and was lucky enough to be in a position where I could just say, no, I'm going to do what I think I should do, on a regular basis, and not feel like I have to answer to, it's just like publicly traded companies, right? Like I'm not going to name names, but I know companies right now that are very big that have went public and have done everything in their power to go back to private, because once you have that board, you're not answering to yourself anymore. You're answering to people who may have different goals. They might have different objectives. They may see the world differently. They may, and that's just a completely different set of decision making, And I had seen enough and heard enough and watched enough that I just don't want that. And there's plenty of people, friends of mine, who have gone the other route and done very well with it. And I'm very happy about that. It just wasn't the route for me. It's like I said at an event I was at the other day, I'm like, just because something's good doesn't mean it's good for you. Right? And I think sometimes that we see something be good for someone else and we assume that means that it's good for us. And we're all just different characters. We're all different. Like I said, we're in different seasons. We have different wants and needs.
Some people take that partnership because it's a form of accountability.
Yes.
Right?
Yep.
And they need that. It's so
very true.
interesting. And I know we're kind of going deeper into something that
No,
we
it's
weren't
great.
planned on it.
No,
But
it's
like,
great.
it's interesting because I could tell a lot just from like you saying, no, thanks. I don't need it. I'm fine. I'm going to self-fund. I'm going to do it myself, gamble and bet on myself all day long.
Yeah.
What's that driver? Is there fear behind of you like selling everything and betting on yourself? Like, how do you turn fear into fuel
Yeah.
to make to be that driver? Because you really are the only accountability is you.
Yes. And so
And at that time, your family.
employees and everything else
Yeah.
too. But there that comes with a level of self-awareness. Okay. And what I mean by that is that when I looked at myself and I looked at what I wanted to do and I looked at what that looked like and I looked at the fact that you're not going to have that pressure. Some people need that pressure from other people to keep them going. I know myself well enough that it would not be a positive for me, meaning I don't need that. Like no one's going to drive me more than me. Nobody's going to. I don't struggle with that, you know? And so that particular set of decision making that needs to be in everybody's equation, everybody's recipe when they, whatever, just isn't one for me. Just knowing myself, it's like I say all the time, like there's things you're great at and then I suck at directions. Yeah, I know that in that area of starting businesses and doing it's just not a thing for me. I don't need it. And I thought about it, I did, but that was where I fell on that. I was like, that's not going to change anything for me. It's just going to put pressure on not making the decisions I know I should make. So it just not for me. Now for somebody else, it's going to be a different decision. It's going to be a different answer. For me, it just wasn't.
Yeah.
And I was open to the fact that I could be wrong about that. And at
this point also, I mean, your coaching and everything was fine. When you did the CRM, it was very much another source of revenue coming in.
We were very profitable.
You're gambling. Yeah.
Look, I mean, babe, we talked about this yesterday, calculated risk.
Yeah.
We literally talked about this yesterday. Calculated risk, I just personally looked at all the criteria, looked at what I was putting in and looked at what my I always look at what the exit is. Worst case scenario exit, can I live with that? Mm-hmm. And for me, there was a calculated risk to it to go, okay, worst case, here's what happens. And I'm still fine. And I've done that with a lot of things, by the way, where it's just like, okay, worst case, that happens and I'm still good.
Yeah.
Like it's not the end of the world for me. So yeah.
Cool.
Interesting. Hey everyone, I want to take a moment and talk to you about a really cool company called Privy. If you were listening to this episode or even moving forward here, you're going to notice that I'm going to talk a lot about investors and how I think this is a huge part of the market that if you're growing a real estate business, we're not paying enough attention to. I'm a big believer here that sometimes to grow your business, you don't just have to pick up a piece of the pie that's already there. Sometimes you have to go to a completely different pie. And it's so interesting because when you look at it, you look at all the data and you see that, 26, 27%, almost 30% of all residential transactions in the last 12 months were investors, right? They were investors. And when I was an agent, like a ton of the business that I did were investors. And so a lot of you hear that and you're like, oh, it's institutional investors. Institutional investors only make up about less than 3% of the overall market. And that's actually going down for the first time in years, which means that we have this huge number of people who are buying and selling properties all of the time, right under our nose, thousands of transactions. They're going to happen regardless. The only question is, are they happening with you? And that's the key thing that I want you to understand. And so when you look at Privy and what they do, they make you the go-to person to work with when it comes to finding investments, when it comes to finding out what a good deal is, when it comes to finding out what the right neighborhoods are, what the wrong neighborhoods are, what previous people had did, all at the touch of a button, right? And so all of a sudden, it's funny, I look at their stuff and I'm like, I worked with all these investors when I was selling real estate and I'm like, how did I do this without this kind of a tool? And you don't have to do that. Now these kinds of tools are there. And so you're going to hear me in the future talking a lot about working with investors and what that looks like. And like I've said over and over again, it is my job to not only tell you what the problems are and what the solutions are, but ultimately to give you the tools that you need so that you can be the go-to source for something like that. And man, are these people worth a lot of money to you. So do yourself a favor, guys. Go to privy.pro. That's privy.pro. Amazing tool. You can ask us questions. There's more things even coming down the road with them that are just going to blow you away. But this is a tool you need in your business, especially for what it costs. It's not a cost, though. It's an investment, but it's well worth it. Let's start getting those investors. that's the part that a lot of people don't talk about when it comes to, the difference between like entrepreneurs and just, people who work jobs and do whatever is like, and I said this to an audience the other day. I'm like, guys, if you're in this industry, like you're like an X-Men, like you're like you're a freak. Like you should be at a house with Professor X with like whatever it is. And it's like, we are, it's not right or wrong. Mm-hmm. Some people are built more for safety and they're built more for, and that's completely fine. That's how you're built. It's like everybody's a different piece on the chessboard. And if you try to be a piece that you aren't, you're not going to be happy because it doesn't move in a way that makes you feel comfortable. Mm-hmm. It's like you're moving out of line. You're moving out of turn. That's not how I was built to be. It's not how I think sometimes there's this judgment against like, well, look at what we do and look at it's not like that at all. Right. And I really don't view it like that. And yet I am telling you that it is different. Meaning that entrepreneurs have a certain risk tolerance. They have a certain stress tolerance. They have a certain pain tolerance. They have a certain, they're just built different.
Yeah.
And that's why they're able to do the things they do. It's funny. It was like, remember when, I won't say the amount, but we had invested some money in something that I knew was going to be really good or whatever. And I just casually was talking. I'm like, I'm going to go put blank into that. And you were like, huh? Like, what? And you said to me afterwards, we were in the car and you were just like, how do you do that? How does that not, whatever? And I literally was telling you, it is almost what we were just talking about in that, like that study you were just reading. It's calculated risk. Mm-hmm. You do the calculation on, upside, downside. Can I live with the worst? What is the chance of success? You look at it from all different angles. And then you make a decision of, I can live with that. Yeah. So this is a calculated risk I'm willing to have because it is true. There is no reward without risk, right? No risk, no reward. But that doesn't mean you get stupid. We're not playing craps here. We're not daddy needs a new pair of shoes and just throwing stuff out there. It's calculated. And when it's calculated, you've done your research, you've done the calculations and you've went, this is going to work out more times than not. But even if it doesn't, worst case scenario, I can live with it. I'm still good, you know? And so you start to think like that. And so anyway, that's it's so funny because it was an interesting conversation we were having the other day. Mm-hmm. I do want to say also though, we kind of touched on we're moving offices, but we didn't touch on why.
Yeah. So why don't you backtrack a little bit for those people that are just like now viewing for like the first time? So you had an office, then you decided to kind of move into a shared space
that had a
your
dedicated
office was
studio.
Way too big. It was a really big office.
It more so, it's like the climate changed, and it was like we're going to do 5-year leases at a time. It's just not the world we live in anymore. Yeah. And that's what we were dealing with. And I was just like, I think there's a better way. Mm-hmm. There's a more efficient way. We cut our lease down by a quarter of what we were paying. Like, I mean, it was just like, yeah, this is just smart, And it was good for the time we had it. There's no doubt about it. We were happy. I'm happy we did it. But we've now, I started looking for a dedicated podcast studio. I started looking for a dedicated space for shooting our academy calls. I started looking for dedicated space for shooting courses. And, I really just decided I'm going all in on that. And so I found a spot that would allow us to set up 2 different podcast studios, meaning one where it's the round table, like many of you have seen me do, where it's like the round table with the dark background and it's more like the lights on you and it's more of a serious whatever. We're now going to have that dedicated ours available at all times. And then there's another setup that is much more like couch and chair and, talking and having fun, and think of it like Flagrant, like the podcast with the comedian Andrew Schultz and stuff, and like where like you can have a bunch of people and just be talking and bull crapping and just talking about whatever. And so it's got that set up. And then it's got a setup that is specifically for trainings, webinars, our academy calls that I do. I could do, live trainings with companies in there. I can do, whatever. And then it's got a spot which is dedicated stand-up course, shoot courses as we need to, add them to our academy. And so we are moving into that at the end of March. And so that's going to be a drastic change for us that gives me the ability now to finally not be limited by space or, you know, what's available or, you know, any of those things. And so I'm really psyched about that. And I'll tell you right now, if you're not in the academy yet, our Jared James Academy, get in there, guys. Like I'm telling you, you know, if you're a one-on-one student, you're already in the academy, okay? But the lowest level of the academy is $99 a month. It's not going to stay there. Anybody who's grandfathered, it'll be there. But right now, it's $99 a month. And I go live twice a month with those people. And sometimes I teach on something specific. Sometimes I do just a live Q&A and let's talk and give you access and let's talk things out. We've got courses on there, and we're about to add a bunch of more courses because now we have the space to do it. And honestly, for like courses we would sell for $1,000, $2,000 a pop, we're just going to be putting them in there for people to do, and they're paying $99 a month. Yep. You know, and if you're a one-on-one student, all of that is already, you're going to get all of that in addition to your coach and the accountability, the Jared James Academy app and all of that stuff. And so, you know, we got some really cool stuff coming, and we decided to get a space that has space in the beginning as well to put some employees and have everybody there and, you know, have a cool space for that and closer for everybody. But the main thing for everybody who's listening right now is, you know, we're going to have separate podcast studios depending on the type of podcast I want to do, whether it's a solo, it's me and Tom, it's me and someone, whether it's an interview, whether it's just me and some people shooting the crap, whether it's, you know, talking about whatever, like we're going to have that dedicated now and set course space, set whatever. Like, so I'm really excited about that. I think that's really cool.
Yeah, it's going to be awesome.
And we're really just right now figuring out how it's decorated. And so the way you see it the first time we shoot it, it's going to change. We're going to have different backgrounds. We're going to do it like, we're just going to keep trying things. You know, I'm on top of buying, you know, furniture for the office and furniture for the new house. Now I'm buying equipment, you know, for podcast space. And, but you got to invest in order to, you know, there's a difference between investing and spending. We say this all the time. There's a difference between investment and spending. You know, investment brings you a return. And, you know, we're now at the place where, you know, we've got, you know, people who, you know, pay to be, you know, advertised on our stuff and pay to, you know, whatever. And so it's like, we got to step it up, you know? And so that's what we're doing. Yeah. So really, really cool stuff. There's so much in action right now.
There's so much potential in that space too.
Moving parts. Yeah.
Yeah, it'd be good.
It's cool to have a space that big and be
and then poor Tom will have to be like coming to the house every 2 hours early to set everything up because everything will be set. You're good. You're good.
Tom's next move is he'll be like we did in the basement, putting stuff together. And like, I don't gotta tell you though, I almost feel like, what are we looking at right now?
Why did Noah just take the car? Yeah, Noah took the car and drove it down, and Grayson's just walking
down the street. He's coming back. He got it.
I was like, why? Because they went that way first. And I'm like, that's Noah's driving.
Well, you can leave this in, by the way. But you guys are like looking at me and I'm going, what is happening right now?
Grayson's just walking the street.
Yeah. My son, my younger, is about to have his license. And
the fact that he trusts Noah.
He got a little zealous. Decided to steal the car. You know what I mean?
Gosh.
It was actually him yesterday that almost robbed us from across the street. Yeah, he steals cars and robs people. I was going to say, though, I don't know about you, but me personally, I'm traveling a ton, but I want to be in also as well and try to set up as much as possible. I kind of like doing that stuff. Yeah. It's like you have your hand on like what everybody's going to see and everybody's going to, it's like mowing your own lawn. Like it's kind of cool. Personally, I like that. I like that kind of stuff. I don't like painting, which is why we're hiring people, whatever.
Oh, I love painting.
But like some of that other stuff, like we're putting up the slats and putting together the furniture and like, where's it going to go and whatever. I kind of like that. Like I'm weird like that.
Well, the thing is, it's your podcast, so you better that should be what you want.
Well, it's our space, though. Yeah. It's like this is where we're going to be all the time. Like to have your hand on that, I think is kind of, I think it's kind of cool. But that's just me. So anyway, that was what we were talking about at the beginning. That's pretty cool. Other stuff going on here. We are releasing this week or next week advanced sponsorships. Ooh. Correct?
Yes. As of Monday, we'll be announcing the different level of sponsorships and those that have already that are wanting to sponsor.
Yeah.
That have sponsored or secured their sponsorship, whatever it looks like.
Yeah.
But yes, I'm very excited about that. Everything is rolling fairly quickly. We just need to get things out there and we have a lot of interest.
Yeah.
But we don't have a lot of levels of sponsorships. Like it's just core sponsors.
You got your booth and you got your that, right? Yeah.
Yeah, and so very excited. Once it goes up, it will absolutely, like, the sponsorships will be gone in less than maybe 2 weeks.
I would love that.
Done.
I'll tell you that right now, because
Yeah.
you got
So
main
go.
sponsors, you've got sponsors for the VIP lunches, you got sponsors for the party afterwards. By the way, guys, for the advance this year, make sure you book at least through Saturday, because when the advance is over on Friday, it's not over. We're gonna go straight at. Can we announce what the party is?
We're calling it on the thing a white out.
Okay, we're gonna have a white out. We're doing a white party.
Yeah.
Diddy style. Didn't he used to do white parties?
I don't think you want to tie it to that anymore.
Just kidding. Did he do something wrong? Yeah.
Oh, gosh.
Oh, God. It is funny because when I think of white parties, I do think of Diddy.
Yeah, that's true.
Because if you remember, he was like famous for, everybody's like, I'm going to the white party for Diddy. I'm going. Now you realize you probably shouldn't have been telling everybody you were going to that party.
We're throwing a white
It
party.
is comeback,
Great.
but we
And
are
it's
throwing a white
and
party,
it's
though.
in Florida.
White parties are fun. We did put a vote out to the Jared James coaching group on Facebook, and the white party won by far.
I know, which I'm kind of like shocked about.
I'm not
'cause
shocked at all.
I mean, that's just so, I feel like it's
It's
basic.
If everyone looks, they all are just in this white. It's easier to dress for.
That's what and then get dirty for. I mean, I can
Who
only
cares?
imagine.
You have an outfit for the one night.
How many people are going to like have wine all over them, like cocktails all over them? I'm like, ugh.
Yeah.
But
sounds like a good time. Yeah. Some people call that art.
That's true.
Just throw it on them.
Oh, is that what you?
We're gonna do that from the stage, babe. We're gonna get a bottle of champagne.
It'll be fine. Anyways, it's gonna be a white party.
We should do that.
I
Actually,
mean,
now that
the
I think
good
about
part
it.
about it is like it takes 0 to none like skill to decorate for a white party. It's just white. So there we go. Just throw up a whole bunch of white, and we're good.
Well, anyway, that's gonna be a blast, though.
It's gonna
Anybody
be
who was
so
there
much
last year,
fun.
you know that you missed out if you were not at the party. That's true. But in their defense, that was the first year we did a closing party so they didn't know to stick around. Now you know to stick around. Okay.
Stick around because we say so.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, it's a great time. Yeah. It's a really good time. So anyway, so we got that coming up. We got advanced sponsorships opening. For those of you that haven't yet downloaded the Edits app, Meta's now releasing the Edits app, EDITS. It's about to be released. A lot of you used to use for your editing and stuff CapCut, and this is supposed to be better. So who knows? It's worth a try. So if you go to your app store and download it, if it's not ready yet by the time you're watching this, they let you know when it's ready. You can download it and then it lets you know when it's ready. So you're going to want to get that. You want to still paying attention. Like, guys, there are changes happening all the time. The algorithm, they just made adjustments to it again. Not only are they favoring, by the way, longer form content. Yeah, they favor it. Now, having said that, if you're not good at it, and you don't have anything to say, it's not going to be favored.
Yeah,
Okay.
that's a
I
good
mean,
point.
that doesn't take much.
Hey, we all
That
love to go
just
to the
makes
movies.
sense.
We all love to go to the movies unless the movie sucks.
Oh, God.
You know what I'm saying? So they're going to favor longer form content. They're also going to put more of an emphasis on watch time. And, there's been people who have been like, well, wait a second. If it's a shorter video, how could you put it on watch time? They're going to look at the percent of the video that people watched.
Makes
And
sense.
so if we know that it's percent of the video, then that means that changes the way you do your content.
Mm-hmm.
That means that you need people to stick around longer, which means if you're talking about 3 ways to do this or this way to do that or, whatever it's going to be, then you're going to make sure that right in the beginning you go, here's the 3 top ways to get the most money for your property when selling, blah, blah, whatever. By the way, number 3 is my favorite. And now people are like, well, I got to see what
stick
number 3
around.
is. So
Yeah.
that's the little stuff that we need to really pick up on from the perspective of like paying attention to what the algorithm is saying, what it's doing, because that is our North Star. Like, you need to know what the algorithm wants. The reason why we're doing green screens, the reason why we even do Reels. Remember when Reels first came out? By the way, Instagram is thinking about coming out with a separate Reels app, but I digress. But you remember when Reels came out and it was like, well, shouldn't I just be putting up videos? Why are people doing Reels now? Now nobody would even think about doing a video that wasn't a Reel. And so it is... The reason why we now do that is because we know the algorithm is going to favor Reels. We know that the algorithm favors more than a single photo. It favors the, what's it called, where you scroll. Not all at once.
Carousels.
There you go. Ding, ding, ding.
Yes.
We know that they favor carousels. God, the way you guys just looked at me, I'm like, well, I guess I'm not getting an answer.
Like, scroll.
By the way, Tom,
I'm like, is it a new thing?
I did not expect an answer.
Yeah, no,
I'm going to be very honest.
I
I put it out so everybody felt okay. I expected.
The blankest statement.
Yeah. He's like, is he talking to me? Is he talking? How close to your tongue was carousels? Not. Okay. And so we have to pay attention to these kinds of things. By the way, on that note, make sure everybody knows, in the very short future, I will be announcing our next social media mastermind. And my God, do we have stuff to talk about.
Can I go to that one?
Babe,
Oh, okay.
you're my wife.
Oh, we have that on camera.
You are not allowed there. You didn't let me finish. You're not allowed there.
I have yet to be able to go. Okay.
Just kidding. You didn't let me finish. You're my wife. You are not allowed there.
I want to go to learn.
Babe, I would love.
Not to even be like, I just want to sit there and take notes.
Babe, half the places I go to now, they're disappointed when you're not there.
Well, yeah, I just want to go and learn.
Yeah, like
That's
what do you, like people? Yeah, I mean,
Thank you.
yeah, babe, do I even have to say you're welcome at everything I'm at? You're my wife.
Thank you. No, I actually really do love plugging in and learning and taking notes. I say that all the time.
Babe,
like
you'd be
when I'm at
taking
your
a
stuff
seat,
too.
so you'd have to pay $5,000.
Yeah, out of our account. Okay. So, anyways, I want to go. I have a lot
Touche.
to learn. I'm like, I don't know.
Touche. It is funny, guys,
Okay.
because like I think a lot of you just heard my wife say she has a lot to learn, and you're like, wait, aren't you his wife? I do spend a lot of time actually following like what's happening. Like I really do. Like I've got certain places that I subscribe to, and I watch everything.
Remember, and Jared also mastered in marketing. So like you truly have an interest in all of like social.
Oh yeah, I
and
want to know
marketing.
what's happening.
It's not an interest of mine. I literally have to like learn and sit down and take the time. I can't do it while I'm on the phone and like scroll through and learn. I'll just get distracted.
Yep.
It's not me.
You know
There's
what-
other ways of learning.
You know what's funny? I
just
never thought of
I don't-
myself. I always think of myself like teaching salespeople. And then like that guy, I just posted that guy put marketing genius Jared, and I'm going,
Yeah, you
even
are-
other people are thinking marketing, and it's like,
Yeah, I mean,
when you really think about it, marketing is
you majored in that. It was
Yeah.
an interest of yours, and that I think that's why you gravitate towards it so much. And obviously, it's helped you in your business. But I mean, you mastered, like that was your thing.
Yeah, but the thing is with marketing though, you have to master it almost every day. It's like when people go and get marketing degrees, I'm like, that is so worthless.
Yeah.
First off, anybody crushing it in marketing is not teaching marketing in college. Second off, everything you learn about marketing in college, any course, any whatever, by the time you get out, it's changed. Like social media, like I've said many times, is not social media. Social media is modern day marketing. And when you look at the platforms that control how it works and what the rule changes are, they're changing every week. So how do you learn something over the course of years, and then by the time you get out, nothing's like what it was when you took Marketing 201 your sophomore year of college? Nothing is like that anymore. Like the way you learn marketing in today's world is by like engulfing yourself into it and actually practicing it, and then looking at results and making adjustments, and then trying it again, and then making adjustments and trying it again and making adjustments. And think about it, when you put out an ad and it's got a 37 cent per click to go through, that means you had 36 different opportunities to get better at that ad. It could have been 36 cents, could have been 35 cents, could have been 31 cents, could have been 18 cents. It could have been, so all of those things are little adjustments that actually matter. And so I do actually get, it's like we teach these social media masterminds and people are like, oh, it's a money play, like you whatever. And like, look, if you're going to get me in a room for 2 days, I'm going to make money. There's no doubt about it. But I do it because I love it. Like it is, I think it's such an opportunity for people right now. Like when you understand, when you're the master of social media, which is modern day marketing in your area, it's an unfair advantage in your area. When I say it at events that I've gone to all over now, last year I had over 50 million views on social, and many more, by the way, with paid and whatever, and like what that looks like. That's an unfair advantage. I'm actually thinking about starting a separate account just for fun and saying, all right, guys, I'm going to start a separate account. I'm going to do
Don't call it
everything.
Jared James. Call it
I'm
something
going to
else.
do everything that I teach you guys, but we're going to see what happens over the next 60 days. Watch. It doesn't matter your followers, right?
I mean, quite honestly, we're about to talk about this too. The person that we're about to talk about in a little bit. You look at his social page, he probably has maybe 20 posts, and he has close to 15,000 followers already in 20 posts.
Who are we talking about? Oh,
I don't know.
Oh.
Let's call him Chambers.
Yeah, I forgot.
Yeah.
I forgot about
Chambers.
Yeah. We are about to talk about that. In fact, you know what? Let's just get right into it.
Yeah.
So I have heard from many of you over and over again.
I've never heard from anyone. So I heard from Jared.
Well, I got a little tagged the last couple of weeks. Apparently there's an Instagram account out there that is called something like Realtors Hate Me.
Yeah.
I should probably double check this before I...
This is actually a great plug-in for him too. I told Jared.
Whatever.
So
It's,
that would be wonderful. But yeah, he's out of Boulders. I think Boulder? Colorado. Yeah, Boulder, Colorado.
Yeah, Realtors Hate Me. Who follows me, by the way, so I don't hate him.
Thank you for following him.
Yeah.
Don't expect to follow back. Yeah. Just kidding.
You're not.
I'm not kidding.
Okay. I don't hate the guy. Look, so guys, a lot of you have been messaging me on many different platforms and saying like, we need to hear from you on this. We need a response. You're getting tagged like crazy in his videos.
Yeah.
You know, but whatever. And
explain who he is.
So apparently this guy was upset. He feels that the industry, the real estate industry, he calls it the real estate cartel.
Correct. Yeah, and by the way, I did read up on him, so I do know who he is. But
we can read up on what a cartel is.
Yeah, that's
look, we've
wrong.
all got.
That's
look,
obviously not.
Guys, anybody who's followed me the last year knows that I've got some gripes with the real estate industry. I love the real estate industry. This is my people. I make a living off the real, but there's some crap going on, okay? And so there's some stuff. So this guy basically said he calls it the real estate cartel and how they're all in cahoots. Where he misses it is he thinks the real estate industry is in cahoots with Zillow. And that's where he's like, I'm like, dude, you missed it. This is where I know that you are not in the industry.
Yeah.
Were you gonna say something?
No, continue.
Oh, okay. All right. You did the I'm about to say something sound.
That's okay.
So look, guys, I haven't responded. Okay, so he's been making videos because he wanted to go sell his home and he didn't feel like there was enough options. And so then when he decides to go and do the for sale by owner thing, he's going to expose the industry and all of its, whatever. And so he started an account called Realtors Hate Me and decided to put on display all of the faults of the industry, and he was going to expose everything. Now, I do want to say a couple things. Number one, for all of you that have tagged me and written me and DM'd me and all that stuff, guys, I've just been busy. If you noticed, I haven't put any posts up the last week. I haven't had a chance to I've been crazy. Okay. So I just haven't had a chance. So I'm sorry. I didn't see all the tags. I didn't see all of the whatever. And even at this moment right now, I will probably go and watch some more and give a response. But from what I saw, first off, let's acknowledge some of the stuff he says is true. Now, people are not going to like that. Some of the stuff he says is true.
And people meaning real estate agents. Not necessarily realtors, just anyone that is in the real estate space.
Yeah. Some of the stuff that he is saying, some of the stuff that whatever, is absolutely true. Some of it is, I can't decide because I haven't watched enough yet, if he's naive or if he's really just playing it for views. Because he did now just start a competing real estate company. So it's like, all right, and then he says, oh, people are accusing me of whatever. And then he goes into this whole thing and it's like, look, man, this plus this equals this. You did do this and then start a competing real estate company. So, people are, it's fair for people to draw to the conclusion that you had ulterior motives. Regardless, that doesn't mean that some of the points he made weren't true, but it also doesn't mean that some of the points he made were absolute nonsense. This idea, his whole thing is that not that all realtors are a waste, but that the idea that we can't pick and choose what it is that we want to use, and that not everybody wants a full service, they want something less, and that this is, some kind of a cartel that you can't do that. Well, first off, you can do that. Let's be very clear. You 100% can do that.
I mean, you could sign an open listing agreement if you
just
want
can do
marketing.
Whatever you want. That's just not accurate. It's not true.
It's just lack of education.
And by the way, what we have traditionally called discount brokerages, that's 100% what they do.
True.
Like when you teach as a coach, when you teach people how to go up against a brokerage that is offering 1% to come in and do, whatever it is that they're going to do, one of the most common things you'll see a full service realtor say is, no problem, I'll match that. Let me just see the list of what they're doing and let's cut my things. Because the point is they're not doing anything. And so it's like, what are you just throwing it on the MLS? That's basically what you're doing. And so that's absolutely available. Not to mention, when you look at what this whole settlement was about, defining exactly what you're making and why you're making it. We're allowed to be paid hourly. We're allowed to be paid whatever we want and someone agrees to. We can be paid for a set of services. I was on this show when it all went down saying that you are now going to see a lot of different options come out, and you're going to have people who say, hey, I'm not going to charge you whatever I normally charge you, 2%, 2.5%, 3%, whatever the thing is that they decide to charge people. I'll just charge you a flat $2,500. It's going to include this, this, and that, and there's not much I have to do. I'm just going to whatever. And, we talked about the fact that that's readily available to people. So I will say that the idea that his whole point of like, that should be available and it's not right. Hey, it's already available. That's just not accurate. That's not true. The fact that you're highlighting this while you sell your house on your own proves the point. You had every option to do anything you wanted, including sell it yourself. If you don't like the options that are available to you with a professional, do it yourself, which you have every option to do. But what you can't do is do it yourself and then complain about the people that you didn't want to hire because you think that they're too high priced, or that they're not worth what they're charging you, or they're not whatever. You have every right to do it yourself. The reason they are paid what they are paid is because the market has backed it. The market has gotten involved. And in almost 90% of the cases says, I'm going to use a pro. The market dictates that. Now, you may be somebody who doesn't need a full service realtor, and you can do it on yourself. The market system is already set up in a way where you're allowed to do that. And the fact that you're complaining about it on the interwebs and creating a new handle and getting many views and documenting it and then starting your own real estate company proves that point. But the other thing that I took exception with, and again, I'm going to be very clear, I've not watched every video. I've watched like 3. And I've had a ton of people sending me his stuff. He gets in on Zillow and thinks that Zillow is in collusion with the real estate industry. Buddy, get into the real estate industry. Realtors hate Zillow, okay? Mm-hmm. And he specifically brings up a situation where he shows that his house has been shadow banned because it is stocked away from the rest of them because he's a for sale by owner, and it's not right. And he shows these columns on Zillow where it says like, active listings or whatever it was. And it says like thousands or hundreds or whatever it is of like these properties. And then it shows, by owner, and it says like 1. And he's like, you see how this has been separated? And I have a couple things to say about that. The first thing I want to say about that is that seems better. You were not locked in with all these hundreds or thousands of properties.
Meaning you're not
You
competing.
were singled out
You're
as a
not competing.
standalone property,
Yeah.
which you would normally have to pay to get that. Ask realtors when they go on a website where they're going to be promoted on that website if they want to be grouped in with hundreds or thousands of other realtors, or how much does it cost for me to just be put by myself? So that's the first thing I'll say about that. The second thing I'll say to that, and I don't have anything against you. If you're listening to this right now, I have nothing against you. I actually think you make some valid points. But the idea, the audacity to think that because you put your property on Zillow, which first off, they allowed you to do, and that you don't like how it was handled or how you were promoted on that site. First off, they don't have to let you on there. Second off, once you're on there and gaining the exposure, whatever, understand their revenue model. They're a company that is in business to make money. Their revenue model, that's not unfair, that's called business. Their revenue model is to sell leads to realtors. How in the world does your for sale by owner help? So you're going against their revenue model and then complaining about their revenue model. It would be like going into a supermarket and saying, where's the spark plugs? Are you telling me I can't get that's not their revenue model. So you can scream at the top of your lungs, you don't think it's fair. But remember, you didn't go through the proper channels to get what you called fairness. What you're doing is that you're expecting the same distribution as all of the people who bought into that system that is there to get the highest amount for properties, to bring the most exposure for properties. You're wanting that exposure without going through the professional. You are a garage sale that wants the distribution of Home Depot. That's what's going on here. And so you can't go into Home Depot and go, what the hell? Why are my old shoes not selling? Why are they not getting the same exposure? Where is the traffic? That's Home Depot. Their business model is not selling your garage sale items. And so I don't say that to be insulting. I say that to say that you need to understand that there are business models of these companies, and they are for-profit companies, which means that they have to do what's in the best interest of their company. And you selling on your own for sale by owner does not entitle you to their distribution channels. And that's just reality.
And then could we add also that there was some talk about not having access to what agents pay for to have access to.
Yeah.
Right? And you've even mentioned it's like a membership to Costco. You want all the goods from Costco, but you're not willing to pay the membership to get all the goods from a Costco or a Sam's
how
Club.
it works.
Yeah.
Look, guys, when you go and sell a boat, there's a reason why you actually go and you work with a boat broker, a yacht broker, because their connections are worth something. Their network is worth something. And so you don't have to use that yacht broker. But if you don't, you understand that you're probably going to get something less.
You know what's interesting? Pulling away from him a little bit. I'm selling my home. We could have easily been like, for sale by owner. We can handle it.
I think we know what we're doing.
Yeah, we could have done it. But instead what we did is we hired a realtor to put it on the market, to help with the showings, to get the proper exposure, to also expose it to people that are probably not even thinking of buying right now, right? Her database, her leads. We are very well
We're letting them
aware
handle the
that
situation.
we could do it ourselves. I ran a multiple listing service. I have thousands and thousands of agents on my own little social network. But yet we have chosen, you know what? The best route is to do this, to compensate the buy side, and to do, we do it the same.
I love that you
exact
brought
way.
this up, by the way, because there's probably not two people on the planet who would be more well prepped.
I could absolutely
to sell a home.
We could both go into our database and sell.
We know what we're
if
doing.
We needed to.
We know what we're doing.
Yeah.
As it is. Our realtor keeps telling us how nervous she is.
I know. I love her.
I just don't want to screw up.
Also, we run a company that has what? We do all pre-market. All pre-market. Our company is pre-market.
Yeah, that's a great point.
I could even sell my property off the market and not have to worry about anything. But we saw value. There's legal issues. There is how is a buyer going to get the best deal on their side, and how am I to get the best deal on my side, or the fair deal, right? There's a lot of that. And so it's interesting.
Can I go one step further?
Go for it.
This is the part that for sale by owners never think about. Built into those comps that you are using to sell your home for sale by owner, if those comps were not sold for sale by owner, there are built-in realtor commissions.
Oh, yeah.
That any buyer who comes in who has a brain in their head is going to look at and go, well, you're not playing XYZ percentage, so let's take that price and eliminate that off of that because that's not the actual comp. And that's the part that so many for sale by owners don't think about. Not only do you statistically get less because you are not built into the distribution channels of those pros that work that market, okay? And again, I want to be clear again. I actually think you made some points that actually make sense. So if you're watching this right now and you hear me and you think I'm just criticizing you, look, I got realtors who hate me. I got people who I say a lot of things that piss a lot of people off, okay? I want to be very clear. I'm not one of those people. And I did, with the little bit I heard of you, you do seem to have some kind of a, realistic bone in your body where you are. The winks at the end of the videos don't help your cause. Where you're just trying to tick off realtors. That doesn't help your cause, okay? But if you do a little bit of research on me, you'll see I'm not I speak up for the industry when they deserve to be spoken up for. I speak up for the industry when I believe that they've been wronged. I also speak against, when I think something is wrong and I think there's a disservice. I've been very clear that I think there's more lawsuits coming down the pike in this industry that are going to be the easiest lawsuits in the history of mankind because they're going to be right. I just did a video, pissed a lot of realtors off, where I said buyer feedback after showings is going away because there's no benefit to the buyer. All it does is create legal liability for the buyer's agent, who has a fiduciary responsibility to the buyer, who in many cases, the buyer doesn't even know that their agent is giving feedback on a home, that they may not be interested in that moment, but 2 weeks go by, the other properties they were interested in are off the market, now they come back to negotiate, and the seller knows what they think of the property. How is that beneficial to the buyer? In every situation, there is no benefit. They go, well, professional courtesy. I'm not disagreeing with that, guys. I'm telling you, in the world we live in today, there's already lawsuits happening. It's going to get litigated out of our industry. Many of the things, I start off almost every event that I do live, and I go, guys, I'm going to say things today that you're not going to like and that you don't agree with. I don't agree with some of them, but I'm just telling you what's going to happen. Okay, I have a responsibility to do that. And so that's one of those things. So to realtors hate me person, understand that I'm not the guy that's just, how dare you, whatever. And I'm going to watch more of your stuff and maybe we will have a conversation. I don't know. Honestly, schedule's whack right now. Okay.
We will.
But yeah, but some of those points don't make sense. And the idea that you believe you are entitled to the same fast track that the professionals have access to does not make sense. And you would not expect that in almost any other area. And because we've given such access and because the industry has given so many options, including what you've decided to do, which is for sale by owner, you now think you are entitled to what a professional agent is entitled to when it comes to their network, the companies they work with, the MLSs they work with, the whatever. And that is, I'm sorry, just not the case. When I get on a plane, I do not have the same access as a pilot. It's a different thing. And I think that we need to understand here that is a thing and that you have every right to sell for sale by owner, but you can't be upset when you go into a transaction as a for sale by owner because that's what you are. And that's the access you're going to get. You don't get into the cockpit. That's how it works. So anyway, hey guys, I want to talk to you about an amazing real estate tool right now called Mosaik. If you want to take your people off of the portals where they're all hanging out and whatever and into your ecosystem, this is the tool that does that. This is a beginning to end, not a CR, it's not another CRM, it doesn't replace that, but it's a beginning to end system that really looks at the lifetime value of your client and looks at every part of that process and takes care of all of it in a way that's completely transparent. So yes, they've got search, they've got transaction coordination, they've got, even for us when we do things like we teach our students the Core 100, they've got the ability to put those people in there, track what's happening, do all of that in an amazing way. But probably the thing that I love about this more than anything is the transparency. In an industry that keeps talking about transparency, and usually when you hear something over and over again, it means that it's not being done at all. This is actually a transparent tool. This is the first tool that I've seen that actually brings the consumer into the transaction. And I think that is the next level of where we are going within this industry. You hear from so many buyers and sellers that, oh, my agent didn't do anything, or I feel like they're not, and there's not this communication going on. This is the first tool I've seen, almost like the early days of .loop where you had that collaboration, but it was just for the document and the signature. They can do that with the transaction now, not only with the clients, but with the vendors, whoever it is, in an amazing way where they can see every step of what's going on. You can write notes to them back and forth. They can see every part of the paperwork and everything and the way that you decide to show it. It's really the next level of what we need to be doing from a consumer experience experience perspective, so they know what's happening. And more importantly, we drive that lifetime value back to you. So if you haven't yet, guys, this is a tool you're going to hear over and over again. You're going to hear me talk about it because, I really think it's my role to not just, define what the problems or solutions are, but provide the tools that will actually get you there. And while so many tools right now are just check the box and just say you have them, this is one yourself, your team, your brokerage. If you're not on it yet, you need to be. This is not the last you're going to hear about this. They're going to grow astronomically. And this is something you need to get on board with if you're going to operate. If you're going to be one of those people that really overcomes and is that top producer in your area, you've got to have the right tools in place. And Mosaik is one of those right now. So do yourself a favor. Go check out mosaik.io, mosaik.io. Again, mosaik.io. You won't regret it, guys. Send us questions if you do, but this is one of those ones that you're going to look back on and remember, amazing tool.
Good luck on selling your home, Mr. Chamber.
No, I think look, he will. I know
will.
From what I saw there, it looked like he wasn't getting what he wanted yet. Mm-hmm. And by the way, I hope he does. Good for you. Yeah. Like, I don't wish anybody, be very clear, guys. You don't take one property and go, see, it's all a sham. Mm-hmm. He gets what he gets. Awesome. There's been properties that have sold on their own for as much as a realtor could have. There's been many more statistically that haven't. They get almost 20% less. That's not the only reason you're hiring an agent, okay? Yes, there is a financial component to it. Yes, there is a liabilities component to it. Yes, there is a stress level component to it. Yes, there is a negotiation component to it. Buyers don't want to negotiate with you directly. And what you haven't learned yet, because you are a for sale by owner, is that negotiating the first time is not the last time you're going to negotiate. Once you go through inspections and once you get title and once you get all of these appraisal and all these other things that are going to happen, and the appraiser will take into account commissions and that you're not paying any. And so, that's another thing too. One of the videos I saw, you were talking about, these realtors that are calling you and telling you the first question, how much are you offering? And you saw this as some kind of just, how dare they, whatever. Again, this is your ignorance to the industry. I don't mean that in an insulting way. I just mean like you're not in our industry. Those agents don't know what you're offering because it's not in the MLS. That is how they knew. And the idea that you think that they should just be coming and showing your property regardless because that's their job without knowing what they're going to make on that property when this is how they provide for their family. It's how they feed their family. And also they have an agreement with the buyer on what the buyer has to pay them if the seller's not covering it or if the seller's not covering all of it. The idea that they go and show that property without their buyer that they represent, that they have a fiduciary responsibility to, without that buyer knowing whether they're going to be on the hook for all or some of that commission, would be irresponsible on their end. So the idea of calling them out and being like, oh, you're just greedy, you're just whatever, I think you've gotten a little too far in the mud right now and you're not realizing it's just human nature. They're also doing what's in the best interest of their buyer because their buyer needs to know whether they're on the hook for that and whether their buyer is going to be able to afford that because that is also going to determine whether that buyer can look at your house or not. Because if you're not going to offer out a commission, that means that now has to come out of the funds of the buyer. Well, now the buyer's on the hook for the closing costs. They're on the hook for now the realtor commissions that are going to go to you. They're on the hook for any inspection that happens. They're on the hook for any appraisal that happens. They're on the hook for, they need to know what they're paying. So that's not agents being greedy. That's agents doing their job. And if you're not in this industry, you don't know the difference.
Let me add something to that, though, because there's something that I need to correct. It's not even in the MLS anymore. So now it's just common practice.
That's my point. It's not in the MLS.
No, I mean, yeah, his property is not in the MLS, but commission in general is not in the MLS.
Correct.
So they're asking you and they're asking Joe down the road that's selling with a realtor.
Anybody.
Same exact question.
Anybody.
So it's not insulting on either side.
Yeah.
It's just common practice now due to lawsuits in the past.
That's a great point.
So we need to make sure that's clear. It's
Yep.
not because it's not in the MLS. That's just how it has to be done by law.
Yeah, that's a great point.
Okay.
And if I wasn't clear on that, I apologize. But
Yeah.
you're 100% correct. It's not just your property isn't in the MLS.
It's everybody's
No
property.
commission is
So
in
don't
the
be
MLS
insulted.
now.
Yeah.
And
Don't feel insulted.
agents have a responsibility to their clients to know what they're going to be on the hook for. They need to know
and
if they can.
Honestly,
it's part of affording the property.
You don't want to waste the home is 2-point-something million. You don't want to
waste. I'd be honest, I didn't even know that. I've been so out of the loop. This is a $2-point-something million property?
I think so. Yeah, out in Boulder, Colorado.
This guy is begrudging agents from making a living? It's a 2 point.
I don't know. I think,
what?
But like,
what in the?
Or maybe not. I think he actually
I didn't know that.
He did a tour of his house before his open house and all that stuff. But I think.
It didn't look like a homeless shelter.
Okay, so.
So he can make money, just nobody else.
What I was saying, it's like they want to also not waste your time. So they need to know this information because time is valuable.
Yeah.
Do you want to sell it? Are you going to offer anything? No, great. We're going to move forward then with somewhere else. That's fine. So it's not necessarily insulting. It's actually, it's respectful of your time for them to ask these questions.
Professional courtesy.
And just, cross it off if it doesn't work. If it does, schedule time to meet. That's what it is. But
yeah. By the way, what's the alternative? Because you're online complaining that realtors aren't worth what they're being paid. And yet the argument you are making is that they should be doing nothing but just showing up and showing the home and asking no questions. So my question is, which is it? Is it that realtors do nothing and then when they actually did something, you got upset with them? What is the argument? That's what I don't understand. You can't sit there and complain that realtors aren't worth what they're being paid. Or as you put it, most are not worth what they're being paid. They have some value, but not all. Mm-hmm. And then the moment they start doing the job on the behalf of the people that are hiring them to represent them, start accusing them of just being greedy instead of understanding that what they're actually doing is their job.
Yeah.
You can't have it both ways. And again, I'm not attacking you. I don't know you. And, maybe some good will come from the fact that you've brought attention to this, which I think is awesome. I think our industry, look, I have been louder than anyone that one of the things that needs to come from the attention on this industry over the next year and 2 years is that we get better and better and we get rid of waste, we get rid of nonsense, we get rid of, all of these kinds of things. But I've also been on record saying that you're going to have less agents making way more money and they're going to get paid exactly what they're worth. And you are correct. Some agents are not worth the dirt, whatever. But at the end of the day, forget about non-realtor agents. Realtor agents, NAR is 1.6 million. If you think that we don't have some waste in that 1.6 million or we don't have some bad actors, awesome. But what we don't do is point them out as those are the people we're putting up, that they represent our industry. Yeah. And let me give an example of what I mean. The reason that I got tagged in your video over and over and over, and everybody's sending it to me and everybody's whatever, is because I'm one of the real ones. And yet if you got into our industry, everyone who can't sell a home calls themselves a coach. Okay? Everyone who can't sell a home wants to get into speaking. Everyone who can't sell a home, okay? And so what I wouldn't want is I wouldn't want my industry, speaking, coaching, training, being held up by some loser who could never sell a home. And at the same time, the only thing we would say to you is don't hold us to the standard of people who couldn't make it at their real job, so they got a real estate license. That's all I'm saying.
Okay. I think he's getting what he wants out of it, which is visibility. He's getting the people's attention. He's getting realtors riled up. He's getting what he wants out of it. He'll sell his home perfectly fine, probably from a realtor, with a realtor at some point.
By the way, can I say something about that?
And he's done a good job. He's done a great job on getting people's attention. Definitely heartburn for some people, and good for you. You got what you wanted.
Yeah.
I think that's what he wants. And, he's literally logging and journaling and vlogging, whatever you want to call it, vlogging.
Yeah. Vlogging.
His process of selling a home.
Yeah.
And he did it. He was very smart. So the marketing side of it, perfect. You nailed it.
I'm about to say, I respect it.
You killed it. You killed it on that point. But I think there are some just disrespectful remarks and comments and
no doubt. I mean, the winking
obviously.
At the end, he knows what he's doing. But by the way,
I think his whole purpose was to stir the pot.
Do we know his name?
To sell his home. Mike. I think it's Mike Chambers.
Do you have your phone on you? Can you look up Realtors Hate Me and what's his name?
No, it's not actually on his handle.
Oh, it's not?
But Mike Chambers.
So wait, his first name's Realtors, last name's Hate Me?
Yeah, maybe. It says Boulder, Colorado is what it looks like. But thanks to ChatGPT, if we could find you anywhere.
All right, so let me just I see Tom, you're looking that up.
Yeah.
Okay, you know what? Is that a real name?
I don't know. It seems like it.
That sounds like okay, that's right. Okay, so let me just say this. Regardless, I know you're starting to competing and everything now. I respect it. I'm gonna be very honest.
Yeah, I'm like,
I always say competition disruption. It either eliminates you or it makes you better, right? And Mr. Chambers, although this isn't going to be popular in the realtor community, you know, I want to tell you, I respect it. You brought attention to your cause.
Exactly.
You're building something out of it. And for all the agents out there, listen to what I just said. Competition eliminates you or it makes you better. We complain about this all day long, okay? But you need to learn something from this. This man went and documented what he was doing and drew attention to it because he was documenting it in a way that other people weren't doing. And then he brought that attention, which is the ultimate asset, and he's turning it into something else now. And you could sit back and complain, but if you're just going to sit back and complain, then I know what side of competition you're going to be on as far as eliminates you or makes you better. Or you can look at it and go, how do I learn from this? You know, if you're a newer agent and you're not documenting in this same fashion what it's like to be an agent and going through that process and showing people the struggle and showing them when it's good and showing them all of that. So what's it like dealing with experienced agents and how they treat you like a prick and they do, you know, all that kind of stuff. Learn from this. Attention is the asset. And so there's a part of me from a business perspective, Mike, I respect it.
Yeah,
man.
you appreciate that.
I respect it. I'm like ready to have you come speak at the advance.
Oh,
like
gosh.
I
We're
respect
not that far.
it.
Not that far.
You know, like I respect the marketing side of it. And so all the agents out there, guys, it's not going to do anything to your business. Relax. Everybody take a chill pill. Relax. Okay. But learn from it.
Yeah.
You know, like document what you're doing. Bring people in. Show them everything. The good, the bad. Wink at the end. You know,
do something.
Yeah. But I respect it, and I truly mean that. Okay, guys, learn from it. Like this is a perfect opportunity of what I've been talking about for years. You guys all got your panties in a bunch, and yet the truth is, you need to learn.
Yeah, he caught your attention. That's what he wanted.
Yep,
caught your attention.
You got me talking about it on the podcast.
Yeah,
I get back from trips, and I got all these DMs.
Yeah,
you know?
So it's almost like jokes on us.
You know,
he
that's not. You keep saying that. It's not jokes on us, babe. Good for him. It's not a joke. It's good for him.
It is good for him. But yeah, he got what he wanted, and
it shows that marketing works. Like it shows that like the attention asset, like what he did works. If it worked for him, just like good for someone isn't good. If it works for somebody, it worked for anybody. So learn the principles of what he did, you know? And we're not done with this. Like I'm going to go watch some of the videos. Now I'm home for a couple days and maybe I'll make a response or something or
just after I leave, please.
You know,
hang out with your wife.
Well, that's why I haven't put up a post. Exactly. And so, anyway, it's interesting. And guys, I've seen it, but, those are my thoughts. I don't know how we'll get that into a 90-second reel, but those are my thoughts on that. Okay. What do we have? Do we have anything else we need to,
I think we're good.
Compass released Compass One. We talked about that last time. You know, I was thinking about this, babe. I want to cover this for like 2 minutes.
Do you?
I don't see a world where, you know, First Up at some point is not like picked up by, you know, all these companies that are releasing their own version of like a pre-market data, whether it's a brand, whether right now we're doing it for brokerages or whatever. I don't see a world where that's not picked up by one of these larger, that they don't go and buy First Up. It's already built. Mm-hmm. You know, the perfect partner, I don't know if I should say this publicly, but maybe I won't. I'll just say it because it's not something that we need to have happen, but I just thought of it out of the blue the other day. You know, we do so much with Mosaik, and like, it's so funny because when I watched the video of the Compass One release, somebody sent me the video of the Compass One release. I was looking at it going, okay, they got a long way to go, but kudos to them for at least realizing that we are in the client experience technology world now. You got to bring the consumer in. You got to give them a place to come to. You got to bring transparency. You got to let them see everything. You got to, you know, that whole deal, right? But I'm looking at it compared to Mosaik, and I'm going, but Mosaik blows them away. Like, does everything but better. Like, it's not even close. I'm watching the demo of Compass One going, yeah, Mosaik's 1,000 times better. The only piece Mosaik is missing when it comes to a company or a brand, using them at scale for the whole thing, is the pre-market side. You know? And obviously we know the people at Mosaik, I'll never say this to them, whatever, but like if I'm them, I'd be picking up First Up and being like, oh, now we compete. Now we actually compete. Because if you think Compass One is the only one, they're just going to keep popping up now at all the different brands. And to compete, you're going to need that initial portion, the pre-market portion. Yeah. You know, and
that's what Compass One has incorporated in theirs, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. Not at the level, by the way, their pre-market is not even at the level of ours with First Up, you know? Not close, but it's like, but at least they're on the right track, you know, of understanding this is where things are going.
Yeah.
Without a doubt, you know, it's just, guys, it's becoming a no-brainer. There are certain things moving forward that like everybody's going to be using, right? I've said many times, everyone will be using Mosaik within 18 months. They only have so many spots in each market. If you don't have it yet, you're out of your mind. Like Mosaik.io, mosaik.io. You're going to miss out.
Agents could get it on their own. They don't have to go through their broker.
Yep.
They could absolutely get them.
You can get it alone. You can get it within your brokerage. You can get it within your team. You can get it. It's like, guys, it's where the consumers are going to start to expect as we continue to, contract and, whatever, like it's going to become the expectation of what an agent's going to be giving. And there's no other tools like that out there. And they're going to limit per market, right? First up, if you're a brokerage and you're not using a tool like that, FYRSTUP, you are officially behind. All this talk about pre-market data. First off, even with clear cooperation, first up is in compliance. Mm-hmm. We would love a world where clear cooperation goes away. It becomes even more valuable.
Selfishly for
yeah, exactly. Now, again, I'm not for clear cooperation going away. Selfishly, I'd love it, that would be awesome. But as a brokerage, if you are not bringing in, that idea that you have pre-market inventory within brokerage, just like you used to do on the whiteboard, telling people here's what's coming and here's the open houses and here's the whatever, but now you use technology to have a communicative platform where anytime a listing goes on that's going to be coming, there's an advantage in your brokerage. It's automatically matching the buyers that are within your brokerage and vice versa. And now you're creating a culture of communication where even if it doesn't sell to them, they're talking back and forth. Even if it doesn't sell to them, you're getting feedback on that property that's going to help you with that seller, whoever that is. You've got open houses on there where you are now able to not only serve the top producers of your office who have 8 open houses in a weekend and can't do them all, where before they used to put it in a group text or a Facebook group that nobody pays attention to.
Yeah, exactly.
Now you have the ability on an app, which is on someone's phone, which is what they pay attention to not only serve them to say, here's open houses that I need to have hosted. You get your younger or your less experienced agents that are going requesting to host, so they know which ones they have. They're talking back and forth. And then you guys just created the game changer of it all when you added that vendor directory,
we just added a vendor directory,
which was statistically one of the top 3 things that people look for. As far as going back to a client, as far as agents within a brokerage. Vendors. So now you have that vendor directory, and then ancillary services. You can make more money than you're actually spending on it.
And then next week we launch Wants and Needs, which is going to be showcasing the other portion of reverse prospecting. Instead of looking for properties, you're looking for buyers. So now within your brokerage, you can look at buyers that are looking to
So you
purchase.
can I can put my buyer what they're looking for, and then when I have a listing or I have whatever, I go, oh, I got this coming on.
So it'll automatically match. Or you could look before you even put a property on. So for instance, Mike Chamber could look, or not him, his agent could look and be like, okay, Mike, you have a $2.5 million home, Boulder, Colorado. Great. It looks like we have a couple buyers already right now.
Right.
Let's go ahead and put it in and see what we could get, circulate, match, whatever. And so now that's reverse prospecting. Instead of looking for properties, you're looking for buyers now that actually match your property. And so,
by the way, that helps when you go on a listing appointment.
Oh,
you can look and see what you've got in your brokerage. Absolutely. And you're like, hey, I've got people already that I can show this to, but you have to be a client for me to legally do it.
Yeah.
Because in order to be compliant within my brokerage, within the rules of the MLS and whatever, you have to have a signed agreement. You are signed with this brokerage. Then I can match you with these people. That's such an advantage.
And the MLS does this, but it's so difficult to find. Yeah. We just make it super easy on the screen. Automatically does all the engagement for you, notifies you of everything. And so super simple. That actually launches Monday. So we're very excited.
Oh, cool.
About that
I didn't even know it was launching Monday. But here's the cool, it's so funny because I listen to people and they're all like, you hear all this stuff out in the industry that, there's no doubt that putting a property in the MLS exposes them to the most people and generally gets the highest price. But this other argument, like most things in this world, we go so far one way or so far the other way and we lose the nuance in between. This other idea that you have a pre-market listing and the fact that it wasn't exposed to the overall market means it's going to get lower prices completely ignores the idea of scarcity. Completely ignores. When I sold one of my homes a couple homes ago, someone wanted to see it before we had it on the market. And we're like, we're not ready. We got boxes, whatever. It's like, well, we just want to see. We're like, all right, whatever. But we're just warning you. So they came in, they made an offer, and it wasn't a full price offer. And I'm like, guys, just let us. We're going to put it on the market and see. We'll give you your full price. Because they had the scarcity, they didn't want the competition of everybody else, so it raised their price. Okay, the idea that you only get the most money when it goes on the MLS is also not true, guys. Two things can be true at the same time. There is a technique called scarcity, and it does work. And so we need to understand that at the end of the day, there are many different ways to sell a house. The seller should have choice as far as what they do. We do want it with the maximum exposure to the MLS when possible, and in almost every single scenario. There are bad actors out there that if you didn't require it to be on the MLS, they would talk sellers into not putting it in MLS just so they can hold on to it and sell it themselves and get the most amount of money, even if it's not in the best interest of the seller. There also are properties in areas where it's very high price points and there's very specific buyers, and they don't want it in the MLS because some people can't afford $37 million. And if they saw it was on the market for 538 days, it could lower the value. But the truth is it's worth what it's worth, but you only have specific buyers. There are so many different sides to this, and we're all acting like there's one side. I can see all sides, and people should have choice. But this is another argument within brokerage where it actually does work. So my point is there are certain tools moving forward that, like, you're just not in business in real estate if you don't have these.
Yeah,
it's absolutely. Like being a buyer's agent and not having a car.
No, I agree.
It's like, yeah, you can be a ride the bus buyer's agent. Good luck with that. Hey, this is a great home. I'm going to talk to the other agent. Hold on a second. My cab will be here in 7 minutes, and then I will. That doesn't come over the same way. You need to have certain tools as a brokerage, as an individual. Moving forward, you wouldn't show up to build a house with a screwdriver and say, let's see how we're going to get this done.
Also, just to stay competitive.
That's it. And being able to communicate that to buyers and sellers you're working with so that they know the questions to now ask other other agents. And when they go to the other agent and they're like, hey, I use the last guy that came in uses Mosaik, and they have an app for me, and I'm going to see everything that's happening, and I'm going to be updated on everything that's happening, and I can get quotes for stuff right through that app. And after the closing, they're going to be updating me on things like homeowners insurance and the property impact report of what's happened with everything in here automatically. And even prior to the close, I'm going to do search right through here, and I'm going to do whatever. What do you use? And they're going to be like, I'm not really sure. Hey, that last person who came in, the last agent that came in here, let me know that they've already got 3 other potential buyers within their company that are being represented by people within their company. They're going to be able to see this property, before it ever. And even if they don't buy it, they're going to give me great feedback. And so we'll know going in what's going to happen. And we're going to, open houses, they're going to have someone to get it no matter what, because they've got a list of people who are ready to do the open house. And they've got, whatever. What do you use? Well, I'm going to post in our Facebook group, and then I'm going to wish upon a star. Seriously.
No, it creates, gives you leverage and stays competitive in the market, makes you stand out.
Anyway, that was a whole other thing we weren't planning on going in, but I just thought that was so important. Like, it's an interesting world. I always feel like the back half of our podcast are where all the value is. The beginning we just chit chat.
Hopefully we don't. Hopefully
I like that
everyone
part, though.
stays up.
I like that. Then you get into your groove. That was an agreement.
Yeah. No, I don't know if you were waiting for something. I was like,
no. Then you get into your groove and you're like, all right, let's go. Like, what do we have to talk about? And there are. And so, by the way, just for everybody out there, look, I haven't posted in a week. It's just been nuts. Okay. And so I got plenty of stuff coming. I got so much saved right now. You're probably going to see me put out 7 videos in 2 days. Because there's just so much to talk about. But it's just a matter of, like, what am I going to do? Shoot it on a plane? Shoot at a meet and greet? Shoot it from stage? It's just not. Sometimes, even for me, it gets a little crazy, and you just got to, the one moment you have, you're just like, I'm going to go talk to my wife and kids, and I'm not going to shoot a content piece right now. But watch the next week now.
There we go.
We will have plenty coming out in this next week. Yeah.
All these notifications that come out.
That's exactly right. So Anything else we have to talk about?
We're good.
We're good. Yeah. All right, guys, we love you. Like we said, for sponsors out there, we are about to release
Keep an
the
eye out.
sponsorships. It's going to be at jaredjamestoday.com/advance.
Yeah.
For those of you that are not sponsors, but you want to come to the advance, this is the lowest you're ever going to see the tickets, guys. Pretty soon, you're going to see me start promoting the advance again. And when that happens, ticket prices start going up. For the sponsors out there, guys, this is your chance to get in front of thousands of agents in a world where we don't have a ton of sponsors. Like, we promote the ones that we actually use, okay, that are actually there. Mm-hmm. We don't accept everybody. We want to make sure that you're actually good for the agents and that you do a good job. And so if that's you, jaredjamestoday.com/advance, or shoot one of us a DM and we'll connect you, with who you need to talk to. Linda is actually running everything this year. So she's a good one to talk to as well. But we got a lot of stuff coming up. As always, thank you for listening, watching, whatever it happens to be. Mm-hmm. And pretty soon you're about to see us in a completely brand new space, which I think we're looking forward to. So love you guys, and we'll see you next time.
Sounds good. Bye.
See you.